Hello and welcome to Bolt Action Reloading. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about a 6.5 Creedmoor load workup with the Hornady 147 grain ELD match with Alliant Reloder 16. Stick around. Welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here and you want to see how I and the rest of the community here make our group smaller, start now by subscribing to the channel and hitting the bell icon. That way you get notified every time I post a new video and you won't miss anything. Like we said in the beginning, guys, in today's video we're going to be talking about the 147 grain ELD match by Hornady and the Alliant Reloder 16. In today's video we're going to be going back a little bit to our previous load development style and talking about doing a 5-shot group with 5 separate charges. Now, while this is not the first time we've shot the 147 grain ELD match on this channel, it is the first time we've talked about it with Reloder 16. In previous videos we've talked about the Hornady 147 grain ELD match with both Superformance and Reloder 17. However, actually at that time, Superformance was the only powder we actually had formal load data for from Hornady. If you've been watching the channel for a while, you'll know that when Sierra released their 150 grain hollow point boat tail projectile in 6.5 Creedmoor, they actually updated their 6.5 Creedmoor data to include a significant amount of more powders for this weight of bullet. While I'm sure these are not perfect correlation for each other, the Sierra bullet is significantly longer than the Hornady. We're going to use some of that powder data to explore some other powders we have not yet tried on the channel. Thus today, Reloder 16. And for those of you that have been waiting for more usage on the Lapua brass, then today is your day. The load data for today is loosely based on Sierra's 6.5 Creedmoor data for their 150 grain projectile. That being said, our loads are going to start today at 40.5 grains and go all the way to 43 grains. Obviously you can see we're using Lapua brass. This actually has not been trimmed. However, most of these are very close to the 1.910 trim length. And the only thing we really did for case prep is full length size and chamfer them. As you can see, the primer for today is a Remington 7.5 small rifle bench rest primer. And the cartridge overall length we'll be using is 2.850. I believe that the load data from Sierra is actually based on Hornady's case volume. And so it is likely we might see slightly higher velocities due to the case volume difference in the load. However, Sierra's data is based on a cartridge overall length of 2.810, and we are extending these well past that out to 2.85. Getting right into the data, guys, starting off at 40.5 grains, our estimated velocity was 2579 feet per second. Our actual velocity achieved was 2622. Our standard deviation was 10.5 with extreme spread of 25 and a 0.820 MOA group. Into 41.2 grains, our estimated velocity went to 2616. However, our actual velocity was 2655. Our standard deviation fell to 3.6 with extreme spread of only 9 feet per second. However, our group size went to 1.047 MOA. At 42 grains, our estimated velocity went to 2660. Our actual velocity achieved, though, was 2706 feet per second. Standard deviation crept up slightly to 4.5, with an extreme spread of only 10 feet per second, and a 0.696 MOA group. At 42.5 grains, our estimated velocity was 2684 feet per second. Our actual achieved velocity was 2735. Standard deviation crept up to 8.6 with an extreme spread of 21, but a group size of only 0.612 MOA. At 43 grains, our estimated velocity went to 2710 feet per second. Our actual velocity was 2779 feet per second. Standard deviation went to 9.3 with an extreme spread of 20. And that final group was 0.664 MOA. Now, if you're fans of the channel, you'll know that I'm really not a big fan of dropping shots. However, I thought in this particular case that the groups were so interesting, I wanted to actually give you guys a formal remeasurement if we actually dropped one shot out of each group and saw what those groups shrunk to. So, just real quick, that 40.5 grain load dropped from 0.82 to 0.249. The 41.2 grain dropped from 1.047 down to 0.426. The 42 grain load went from 0.696 down to 0.331. The 42.5 grain load dropped from 0.612 to 0.448. And the 43 grain load dropped from 0.664 down to 0.360. So guys, some very interesting numbers indeed. Overall, probably some of the best standard deviation and extreme spreads we've seen on the channel to date. Not sure if we should credit Reloder 16, the Lapua brass, or the combination overall. Though obviously we would have liked to see the lower standard deviations a little higher up on the velocity chart for a 147 grain projectile with a G1 ballistic coefficient of 0.697. This is certainly no slouch at all. Kind of like I always do, guys, I will throw a shot of brass on the screen so you guys can see it. You will see in that top 43 grain charge that I did have one of the primers puncture. I guess kind of a fault when you're using these Remington 7.5 primers. Be aware, it's obvious you can see some primer cratering. Having primer crating with the small rifle primers is certainly not an uncommon occurrence in 6.5 Creedmoor small rifle primer brass. However, obviously, puncturing a primer is not on our list of things to do in load development. One thing I thought was interesting, if you guys look very close at those primers, you will see the primer crating is certainly not equal among all of the cartridges with the same charge. Keeping in mind the rows do have the same charge weight, you will notice that while the first shot that was taken had a significant crater, and the third one actually had a puncture crater, there's almost no crater at all on the last charge shot for that top 43 grain load. I really wish I had a clue why this was, guys, but I guess we'll just have to write it down in the books as an unexplained occurrence. If you guys are fans of Johnny's Reloading Bench, you know that he's had certainly the same issues with his Starline small rifle brass using this primer. His solution has been to throw some CCI 41 primers in there with that little harder cup, resist that firing pin puncturing the primer. However, I've yet to find any of those, but I guess I'm going to put it on my list of things to be looking for a little closer when I go to my local reloading store. All that out of the way, especially for you guys that are interested in knowing the conditions that we shot this under were 45 degrees Fahrenheit, 49% relative humidity, and the density altitude calculation was actually -8 feet. Like I alluded to before, guys, I'm actually pretty happy with how this projectile shot, and I'm very happy with the standard deviations that we actually achieved with that lower velocity. For those of you that have been following the channel recently and know that I've been doing a lot of Scott Satterley load development style, you guys will probably be frustrated, why don't we have that information? Well, guys, fear not, stick around. I actually did a longer string with the other 25 cases doing that exact thing. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and stick around, and we'll see that in a future video. All that out of the way, let me know what you guys think in the comments section below about today's load development. Have you guys been using this 147 grain ELD match with the Reloder 16? What are your experiences? Do you have a different favorite powder for this projectile? I'd sure love to hear your thoughts on today's load development. So like I mentioned, guys, if you have any comments or questions on the video, please put those in the comments section below. If you're not subscribed to the channel and you like the content, please consider subscribing to the channel. Hit that like button. Make sure you guys have hit that bell icon to get notified next week when I post my new video. And like always, guys, until next week, stay safe in small groups.